Angel Reese eventually found herself in serious trouble, facing a lawsuit from the Chicago Sky for using steroids. It seems the team had more up their sleeve than just taking jabs at Caitlyn Clark. They're dealing with bigger issues now. But really, Angel, steroids? It's like if there's a questionable move to be made, she's all in. Apparently, just playing the game the right way hasn't been cutting it for her.
The addiction is real. The addiction to attention is real.
Now, she's turning to drugs, because apparently playing real basketball in the WNBA is just too tough, especially when you're afraid of the competition. Let's be honest, this all boils down to her jealousy of rookie sensation Caitlyn Clark. Reese just couldn't handle being overshadowed, so naturally, steroids seemed like the solution to her. But this time, she's not getting off so easily. Angel Reese, the self-proclaimed queen of the WNBA, has been caught up in drama from the start. And now, with this steroid scandal, it's turned into a full-blown soap opera. The Chicago Sky decided to skip the usual warnings and went straight to filing a lawsuit. Rumor has it, they've officially accused Reese of cheating her way to the top.
She got terminated today from the Chicago Sky.
This kind of move is completely unheard of in the WNBA. No team has ever been this bold, this over the top. We're talking about a full-blown legal smackdown, accusing Angel of juicing her way through the season, especially when things got intense during key matchups. And if you think this is some wild conspiracy theory, think again. The Chicago Sky's lawsuit reads like a sports drama miniseries. They're saying Reese cheated, and because of it, they missed the playoffs. They're not holding back. They're flat out claiming she used her enhanced abilities to sabotage their shot at playoff glory.
You're not coming in and dominating our game.
Here's where things get interesting. Rumor has it that Reese, realizing she wasn't going to dominate the WNBA like she did in college, decided to take a shortcut. And allegedly, that shortcut was steroids. The timing? A bit too convenient. The allegations suggest Reese turned to steroids right when it became clear that pure talent wasn't enough to keep her on top. And who was the constant thorn in her side, outshining her at every opportunity? None other than Caitlyn Clark, the Iowa star who was stealing the spotlight without a trace of controversy.
I think Angel Reese is jealous of Caitlyn Clark. She thinks she's, the reason why this is all happening here.
While Reese was grappling with inconsistency and facing criticism, Clark was out there effortlessly breaking records. Clark didn't just set the WNBA rookie scoring record in 2024. She obliterated it, finishing the season with 761 points. No drama, no scandals, just solid hard work and talent. Every time Clark lit up the scoreboard, Reese's struggles became even more apparent. Social media had a field day, tearing Reese apart with constant comparisons between her and Clark. Let's just say those comparisons didn't do Reese any favors, as it became clear to everyone that she was more talk than game.
She just likes to call out haters and clap back at haters and say different things.
Let's be honest, this scandal doesn't just affect Angel Reese, it casts a significant shadow over the entire WNBA. The league has been working hard to expand its fan base and prove it can compete on a larger scale. However, with this steroid revelation, the league's reputation is now at stake. If the lawsuit goes in the Sky's favor, the WNBA will face a serious need for damage control to maintain the trust of both fans and sponsors.
You're not coming in and dominating our game.
But why did she feel the need to resort to this? The WNBA isn't college basketball. In the pros, the competition is much tougher, and the athletes are seasoned professionals. Reese quickly discovered that it's a whole different ballgame. While her rookie season wasn't bad by typical standards, she wasn't aiming for average. There were moments when she looked like the unstoppable powerhouse everyone expected her to be, but then she would follow those performances with disappointing outings. In her first 10 games of the 2024 season, she scored under 10 points 5 times. That's not the kind of stat line that silences critics. When expectations are sky high and you don't meet them, people start talking, and not in a good way. And that's when the steroid rumors began to surface.
But there's nothing about her game that's really interesting. Now you have a rivalry here. Angel Reese wants to be Draymond Green. But there's nothing about her game that's really interesting that is going to translate to people who may not watch the WNBA, may not care about basketball.
ESPN has finally laid out what's next for Angel Reese after her first season in the WNBA. And honestly, things aren't looking as promising as people might have expected. Or should I say her first tear-filled season? Now, before anyone thinks I'm being too critical, let's get one thing straight. Angel Reese is undeniably talented. There's no question about her skills on the court, but the ongoing drama, constant complaints, and leaning on the race card really overshadowed what could have been a stronger start. ESPN's analysts have broken down her performance, and their predictions for her future are pretty jaw-dropping. It may not have shocked me, but for those who haven't been paying close attention, it might be eye-opening. Now, let's not pretend Reese completely bombed her first season, because she didn't. She averaged 11.5 points and 9.2 rebounds per game, which sounds decent at first glance. But here's the thing, those stats don't tell the full story. Sure, she was putting up numbers, but there's a difference between just padding stats and actually making a real impact on the game.
Honestly, I think the biggest thing she should focus on is just finishing around the rim. That is something where maybe her rebounds will be halved. However, she will still make such an impact around the rim if she can.
The real concern with Reese is her shooting. You know, that whole putting the ball in the hoop part of basketball wasn't exactly her strong suit. She shot 39% from the field, which, for someone who plays close to the basket most of the time, is pretty disappointing, especially when you've got someone like Caitlyn Clark casually hitting shots from miles away with better efficiency. Reese, on the other hand, was missing key shots. At least she had the chance to grab her own rebounds though, because nothing quite says oops like missing your own shot and then immediately collecting it again, right?
Angel Reese shot 39% from the field, and she took 90% of her shots from inside 8 feet.
Speaking of rebounds, let's be clear, Reese can rebound. She led all rookies with 9.2 per game, which sounds impressive until you realize a good chunk of those were off her own missed shots. It's like she was playing fetch with herself. Sure, she's doing something, but is it really making a difference for her team? Critics were quick to highlight that while her double-doubles looked great on paper, they didn't seem to have much of an impact on the game. More like padding her stats thanks to those missed shots. But hey, who's keeping track? Oh, right, ESPN.
Back with 20 rebounds, looking, pursuing. Once again, Reese with the tip, another chance. Reese trying to put it back.
And wow, did the analysts have a field day with the whole self-rebounding situation? It turned into this funny basketball meme. Angel Reese, queen of padding her own stats by cleaning up her own misses. Fans were hyping up her double-doubles, but the experts? They were raising eyebrows and asking, wait, how many of those rebounds were from her own missed shots? It's one of those things that sounds impressive until you take a closer look and see the mess beneath the surface. Meanwhile, Caitlyn Clark is out there casually racking up triple-doubles with so much efficiency, and in comparison, Reese's numbers start to feel a little empty. Her double-doubles weren't leading the team to victory, and they weren't winning the big games. When the pressure was really on and she needed to step up, she didn't. She struggled in those high-stakes moments, giving critics even more reason to question her future.
Yeah, the reason why we watching women's basketball is not just because of one person, it's because of me too, and I want y'all to realize that.
Another issue is her ratings and attendance. Angel Reese, always so confident both on and off the court, didn't just step into the WNBA, she strutted in, practically shouting that she was the reason people were watching. But reality had other ideas, and the numbers? Well, they paint a very different picture. When Reese was sidelined with a wrist injury, something unexpected happened. Attendance actually went up. Yep, you read that right. Fans were showing up in larger numbers while Reese was sitting on the bench. Which, let's be honest, doesn't exactly scream, people are here for me, now does it?
WNBA has been around a couple of decades, and people didn't notice the game. They're noticing it now. Yeah,
but she needs to be on a better team.
ESPN is now having a meltdown over Caitlyn Clark's new deal in Europe, acting like they have any say in her choices. They don't? Clark's already made her decision and isn't looking back, no matter how much noise they make. Why? Because she respects herself and knows her worth. Unlike those running the WNBA, Clark isn't about to stick around and be treated poorly in a league that doesn't even protect its top players. So why should she stay?
She struggled with physical defense she's faced at the professional level and voiced frustration with the league's officiating, recently telling reporters, quote, "I feel like I'm getting hammered and everybody is physical with me, and opponents get away with things that other people don't get away with." That's what Caitlyn Clark said.
She's been shoved around by other players, overlooked by the refs, and constantly attacked by critics who couldn't stand the fact that she was the one keeping the struggling league afloat all on her own.
What I am upset about is like, hey man, your meal ticket is under constant attack. There's been dirty plays all season.
Now that she's realized she's worth more than being the WNBA's worn-out cash cow, everyone's losing it. Sorry, ESPN, your golden star has flown the coop, and all you're left with is a pile of missed opportunities. Caitlyn Clark just dropped a bomb on the WNBA, and it's almost funny how ESPN suddenly acts like they care now that she's choosing Europe. She's done with the WNBA circus, heading overseas, and leaving behind broken dreams and bruised egos. After carrying the league on her shoulders all season, dealing with hard fouls and getting knocked around like she's in a hockey game, she's finally had enough. Honestly, I don't blame her at all.
This kid's on the wrong team. She's got the wrong skill set to handle the physicality of that league, and she's a rookie.
This isn't just a player making a career shift. Remember her last game against the Connecticut Sun? She scored 29 points, dished out 10 assists, and grabbed 7 rebounds, essentially putting on a one-woman show. Meanwhile, her teammates were busy fumbling their lines in a comedy of errors, missing open shots and making mistakes that would make a high school coach cringe. And what did the WNBA do? They allowed the refs to treat her like a punching bag while they just sat back and watched. Fans didn't sign up for a UFC fight, but that's exactly what the WNBA turned into every time Clark stepped onto the court.
Caitlyn Clark was assaulted yesterday in her very first playoff game in the WNBA.
Now ESPN and their so-called experts are finally coming to their senses. Oh, now they see they've been sitting on a cash cow all along. How convenient. Before Caitlyn arrived, the Indiana Fever were lucky to draw in 3,000 fans per game, which felt more like a neighborhood block party than a professional event. But once she came on the scene, the arena was packed with 17,000 fans every game. That's a 400% increase.
The Indiana Fever, all right, with Caitlyn Clark, led the league in attendance both home and on the road. Fever averaged 17,000.
How's that for impact? They didn't just have a star player, they had a once-in-a-generation phenomenon. But sure, let's keep focusing on spreading the wealth instead of celebrating the one player who single-handedly put the WNBA on the map.
If Caitlyn Clark is the quote-unquote savior, if she's the golden girl, milk it!
And don't even get me started on merchandise sales. Caitlyn Clark's jersey has outsold everyone in the league's history, surpassing legends like Sue Bird and Diana Taurasi. We're talking about a rookie, a first-year player, outshining Hall of Famers. That's not just impressive, it's historic. She made the WNBA must-see TV, and her games felt like national events. But did ESPN ever recognize her as the superstar she is? Nope. Instead, they gave her lackluster coverage, acting as if she were just another player. Now they're scrambling to pretend they didn't overlook her, but it's too late. ESPN, you missed the boat, and it has already sailed across the Atlantic.
Yeah,
But she needs to be on a better. She needs to be on a better.
Caitlyn Clark received 17% of the WNBA's flagrant fouls this season, and 80% of those flagrant fouls were committed by the Chicago Sky against Caitlyn Clark. So there have been cheap shots, there have been hard fouls, there have been other plays that haven't even been called flagrant fouls. But when you have the face of your league getting nearly 20% of all flagrant fouls called against her, that is an issue.
Did you catch that WNBA game where it felt like the refs had it out for Caitlyn Clark? It's wild. Fans are absolutely losing it. saying the league is letting their biggest star get bullied on the court. And honestly, they might be right. Let's break down why this matters and what we can do about it. Picture this: sun versus fever, playoff level intensity. Clark's driving to the basket, defenders all over her. She goes up for the shot, clear contact, and nothing. No whistle. The crowd's going crazy, and Clark's staring at the refs like, "Are you serious?" But still, no call. It's like the refs left their whistles in the locker room. And guess what? It only gets worse. We're going to dive into why the fans are so outraged, what this means for the WNBA, and what needs to be done to fix it. Some of the things happening behind the scenes? You won't believe it. The league's got a serious issue, and it's time we talk about it. Now, if you think you've seen mad sports fans before, think again. Caitlyn Clark's fans aren't just angry, they're practically ready to storm WNBA headquarters. So, what's making everyone so upset that people are saying this could change the future of women's basketball? Just imagine your Twitter feed blowing up with all caps rants, Instagram flooded with heated reaction videos, and Facebook groups turning into full-on virtual battlegrounds.
Superstars are going to get a special whistle, and they should, protecting their one superstar who brought in more eyeballs than anyone else has ever done in the league. She should have a special whistle. Calls like this should be made, should be reviewed, because at the end of the day, it's not just the sport, it's the entertainment of the sport, and you need to protect your superstars, and the WNBA has not done well this entire season.
This is what's going on in the WNBA right now. Fans are absolutely outraged over how the refs are handling these playoff games. And it's not just a few hardcore fans either. It's turned into a full-blown revolt. So what's causing all this frustration? It comes down to how the officials are treating the league's top stars, especially Caitlyn Clark. Fans are furious, saying that the refs are letting defenders get away with everything when it comes to Clark. She's getting pushed, shoved, and knocked around without a single call being made. It's like the refs are taking a break every time she drives to the hoop. One fan put it perfectly: if the game isn't called fairly, we can't win. The WNBA should be ashamed. And that's the feeling that's all over social media right now. People are angry because they think the league isn't protecting its biggest stars, the players that fill seats and get people watching. But here's where it gets even crazier. This isn't just about one game or even one player anymore. Fans are saying this whole referee issue could actually hurt the future of the WNBA. They're worried that if star players like Clark can't perform because they're constantly getting fouled with no calls, it's going to slow down the growth of the league. And what's even wilder, some fans are predicting that this could tank viewership for the rest of the playoffs. They're asking, why should we watch if the games aren't fair? It's like the league is ruining its own momentum right at a time when it should be celebrating its success.
I'm gonna go out on a limb here and say that I do think that this was a basketball play, but I think it was a careless basketball play. I wouldn't go as far to say that I think Dejanay Carrington poked her in the eye on purpose. A lot of people are also saying that the WNBA needs to overhaul the referees, that they have just been absolutely awful this season. However, I do think that she was reckless when she was going for the steal. She didn't care where her hand landed.
Important responsibility, ensuring fair games, and letting the stars shine. But it's more than just frustration over bad calls. There's real fear about how this could impact players' careers and the loyalty of the fan base. Imagine being an up-and-coming player in the WNBA and watching how Clark is being treated. What message does that send about your future? Fans are concerned that this might discourage the next generation of talent from even wanting to join the league. And for the die-hard supporters who've been with the WNBA since the beginning, they're feeling betrayed. Like, all their dedication doesn't mean anything. But the problem runs deeper than just how the players feel. This whole referee situation is like a ticking time bomb for the WNBA. Some fans are saying it's exposing issues so serious, it could reshape women's basketball entirely. So why does this matter so much? It's not just about a few bad calls in a single game. This officiating chaos is putting player careers, game outcomes, and the league's entire reputation at risk. If the star players can't perform at their best because they're constantly getting fouled without any calls, how can they truly show what they're capable of?
Not calling some of these fouls and not cracking down on some of these cheap shots and hard fouls that are so excessive, not only against Caitlyn Clark, but against other players as well. People want to see a fast-paced, high-scoring, long-range shooting game from these women. People should know right off the bat, it shouldn't be the first round of the playoffs that players think that they can still do this kind of thing.
There's not that many people that can relate to everything that she's been through. There's not that many folks that know what it's like to be in her shoes, but someone that does is LeBron James, right?
Few can truly understand the rise of WNBA rookie sensation Caitlyn Clark, but one person who gets it all too well is Los Angeles Lakers superstar LeBron James. After a standout rookie season with the Indiana Fever, Clark's journey has drawn comparisons to James himself, who recently voiced his support for her. He said, "I have a great deal of respect for Caitlyn Clark because I know exactly what it means to be drafted, be the face of a franchise, and also get scrutiny from people who don't think you're ready for that next step. Watching Caitlyn and what she's doing, I've been supporting her since day one because I remember going through that myself. She has my support 100%. She's a transcendent player. Like James, Clark faced immediate pressure. As the #1 overall draft pick, she was thrown into the spotlight, much like LeBron was back in 2003 when he was drafted by the Cleveland Cavaliers. At just 18 years old, the weight of an entire franchise rested on his shoulders, with expectations to lead them to greatness. Similarly, Clark took the reins of the Fever franchise, and her rookie season has come with its share of challenges. Another thing James and Clark share is their massive popularity, which brings both admiration and criticism. LeBron has been through it, and now Caitlyn is experiencing the same. Yet, despite the noise from critics, both have turned the pressure into game-winning performances. LeBron, always a supporter of women's basketball, hasn't hesitated to show his admiration for Clark, whether it's through encouraging words or sharing her highlights on social media. He's been one of her biggest fans from the start.
The one thing that I love that she's bringing to her sport, more people want to watch. Don't get it twisted. Don't get it f***ed up. Caitlyn Clark is the reason why a lot of great things is going to happen for the WNBA. But I'm rooting for Caitlyn because I've been in that seat before. I've walked that road before.
NBA analysts have already started drawing comparisons between LeBron James and Caitlyn Clark.
Right, when LeBron James came out in 2003, we heard, so many guys on record saying they couldn't wait for him to get to the league and he wasn't going to do this, he wasn't going to do that. And guess what? He did that and he did this. When she took her hits, she got back up and she kept swinging and she kept dominating in great fashion as a rookie. And so it's no other two athletes like LeBron James and Caitlyn Clark that's been under this most pressure since I've been around the game of basketball that I've witnessed with my very own eye.
Just like LeBron, Caitlyn Clark's rookie season didn't get off to a smooth start. The Fever struggled with a 1-8 record early on, leading fans and analysts to question her abilities. Fast forward to the WNBA playoffs in September, and those doubts disappeared. Clark led the Fever to their first postseason appearance since 2016, finishing the season with a 20-20 record, their best in nearly a decade. Her stats were nothing short of remarkable, averaging 19.2 points, 8.4 assists, and 5.7 rebounds per game. Not only did she lead all rookies in scoring, but she also topped the entire WNBA in assists, though the Fever were knocked out by the Connecticut Sun in the first round. Much like LeBron's early playoff exits, this is just the start for Caitlyn. LeBron himself didn't make the playoffs in his rookie year, finishing with a 35-47 record. 2 decades later, he's a 4-time NBA champion, a 4-time MVP, and a certified legend. As for Clark, she's already making her mark. After her playoff exit, she made history alongside Michael Jordan, becoming just the second rookie in NBA or WNBA history to average at least 18 points, 8.5 assists, 5 rebounds, 2 steals, and 1 block in a playoff series. Sharing a stat line with Air Jordan, that's no small feat.
She has lived up to expectations, right? I'm looking at her the way I look at LeBron James, right? For as the women's side of things, and the height that she had, the expectations she had to live up to, packing out arenas on a day-to-day basis. A lot of people out there waiting to see her fail, and still keeping her composure as a rookie and leading this team has been a beautiful thing to see.
Clark's rookie season hasn't just turned heads in the WNBA. It's grabbed the attention of major sports media figures. ESPN's Stephen A. Smith and NFL legend Shannon Sharpe have both praised her performance. Despite all the noise, Caitlyn has been absolutely phenomenal, said Smith. Her ability to thrive under pressure shows she's got greatness written all over her.
She elevated. She seemed to thrive. She's been better since the Olympic play. And what has she looked like since? She's looked absolutely marvelous, regardless of whatever noise has been out there.
A lot of this noise came by people that were sitting on this network. They tried to minimize her, said, well, you giving her all this credit. What about the women that came before her? What the women came before her, what they did cannot be taken away. Caitlyn Clark, what she's doing doesn't minimize what they've done. But
a video showing a heated physical clash between WNBA legend Diana Taurasi and up-and-coming college basketball star Caitlyn Clark has gone viral, quickly spreading across social media. The intense moment between the two athletes has captured the attention of fans everywhere.
Oh, it's always great. You know, every year is a different journey. And I think that's the best thing about being in a team sport, that it's always different, new faces. The goal is always the same, though. And it's, you know, we're just excited that everyone's back. I'm really excited. I've known Tosh for a long time, competing against her, and
the footage shows the two athletes caught in a heated exchange that quickly escalates into a physical confrontation, leaving fans and commentators shocked and concerned. This unexpected clash between two major figures in women's basketball has sparked intense debate about the level of competition, sportsmanship, and the changing dynamics within women's sports.
Hey, you be studying my arms? Yeah, I do. It's very nice. I think at times, like, yeah, I'm small, but like, I mean, I try to hold my own the best I can, and it's actually funny. We were playing live the other day, and I was backing down E-Dub, and E-Dub's like, man, I thought I was just gonna push you out of the way, but you're a little stronger than I thought. I was like, yeah, E-Dub, like, don't mess with me, like.
The video, reportedly filmed during a highly anticipated exhibition game between a WNBA All-Star team and a top NCAA college team, captures a moment no one expected. What started as a routine play escalated into a tense showdown between Taurasi, known for her fierce competitiveness and no-nonsense attitude, and Clark, celebrated for her sharp shooting skills and fiery presence on the court.
She's always been one of my favorites to play against. There's certain people that you know compete a certain way no matter what the score is, no matter how their season's going, and she's one of those players. And to bring that energy to our team and that type of competitiveness, I mean, there's not many players like her in the world. What she can do offensively, defensively, you know, I've gotten to know her pretty well through USA camps, and there is a certain seriousness about her that's scary for everyone else.
In the footage, the confrontation seems to start with a verbal exchange that quickly intensifies. While the exact words between Taurasi and Clark aren't clear, their body language shows that tensions were high. As the argument continued, things escalated, leading to Taurasi shoving Clark, who responded just as forcefully.
It comes really quickly. You have to find a way to forge these relationships and this chemistry. And it starts with, you know, today's brunch. It starts with going to San Diego today and starting our training camp. And we start forging those, you know, really strong relationships that help you on the court. I mean, what an incredible career. You know, I had an opportunity to play with Candace on the national team in Russia, obviously, and the WNBA.
The physical altercation, though short, was intense, with teammates and officials quickly stepping in to separate the two stars before things got worse. To grasp the full impact of this incident, it's important to look into the backgrounds of both Diana Taurasi and Caitlyn Clark, two players who come from different basketball eras and embody distinct playing styles.
At her size, being able to do what she did really opened up, I think, the door to seeing a new way of playing basketball, especially on the women's side. And honestly, she's done some things that, you know, not many people even dream of doing. And, you know, what she did at Tennessee is just incredible. And, you know, what she's doing on the other side too now, being on TNT and opening all those opportunities for women. I mean, she's really a trailblazer in a lot of ways.
Diana Taurasi, often regarded as the greatest female basketball player of all time, has had a legendary career spanning nearly 2 decades. A 3-time WNBA champion with the Phoenix Mercury, she's known for her incredible scoring ability, court vision, and leadership. Taurasi has also been a key player for the U.S. women's national basketball team, helping secure multiple Olympic gold medals and World Cup titles.
Yeah, I mean, it's huge. You know, sometimes it's hard when you have training camp in the city. You know, you practice and then everyone goes and they're busy. But, you know, we're going to be in San Diego for 5 days and really get to know each other. We have a brand new group, and I think it'll be a great opportunity to get to know each other and start, you know, building chemistry as a team.
Taurasi's legacy in the game is solidified by her countless accolades, including multiple WNBA MVP awards, scoring titles, and numerous All-Star selections. Known for her fierce competitiveness and vocal leadership on the court, she's earned both admiration and criticism over the years. Caitlyn Clark, meanwhile, is one of the brightest rising stars in women's basketball.
Nike, an organization that got her on a bargain basement deal and is telling her, well, we're going to wait to promote you until we're done promoting Asia Wilson. And she's in the middle of all of these racial discussions that she has nothing to do with, wants nothing to do with, and then they're demonizing her fans.
Caitlyn Clark just sent a clear message to Nike by signing a major deal with Adidas. And Nike's situation is about to get a lot more complicated. Who thought it was a smart move to prioritize Aja Wilson over Clark? This isn't just a questionable decision, it's a serious misstep. Clark is breaking records left and right and attracting more fans than half the league combined. How does it make any sense to overlook her?
Now, since she has signed this contract, you guys, and her WNBA season has come and gone. And with that, Nike has not done one thing to promote her. We have not seen any commercials, we have not seen any ads, we have not seen any Caitlyn Clark merchandise, and we for sure as hell have not seen any Caitlyn Clark signature shoes.
Nike has been in the game for decades, but this move shows they've got the business sense of a soggy sock. Meanwhile, Adidas is making smart decisions, jumping on the Caitlyn Clark bandwagon and heading straight for the top. Nike, on the other hand, will be left in the dust, clinging to their overpriced sneakers and wondering where it all went wrong. Nike, this one's going to sting.
The average Angel Reese game is 10,100, 10,200 they come to watch her.
Nike just made one of the biggest mistakes in their history. They let go of the one player who's been shattering records and reshaping the WNBA. Caitlyn Clark was practically handed to them on a silver platter. And what did Nike do? They let her walk away.
There was a Nike ad for Iowa Caitlyn, though it wasn't exactly pushed on the public. There has been no Nike commercial for Clark as a pro. Let that sink in.
Oh, they just shrugged, looked the other way, and treated her like she was any other player riding the bench. This is the same company that built an empire on recognizing and capitalizing on talent. And now, they've somehow made Adidas look like absolute geniuses. Adidas is probably celebrating right now because they just pulled off one of the greatest heists in sports marketing history. This isn't just a win for Adidas, it's a slam dunk that's going to haunt Nike for years. Clark isn't just a star, she's a game changer, but Nike, in their infinite wisdom, decided she wasn't worth their marketing dollars. What a joke! The execs at Adidas are probably laughing like, did Nike really just hand us the future of women's basketball on a discount?
Caitlyn originally signed an NIL deal with Nike when she blew up in college. She was so popular. Caitlyn was the most recognized college player in the country by far, twice as much as second place Angel Reese, 4 times more than the most popular men's player. That's never happened. So when she turned pro, several shoe companies were after her. Under Armour said she'd be the face of Curry brand.
Nike, what were you thinking? You had the one player who doubled WNBA attendance, shattered rookie records, and made the league more relevant than ever, and you decided to let her go? That has to be one of the worst decisions since Blockbuster passed on buying Netflix. Meanwhile, Adidas swoops in, recognizes true talent, and offers Clark a huge deal, while Nike's busy promoting athletes who can't even come close to the number she's bringing in. But of course, Nike stuck with their safe choices. Great job. Keep focusing on your outdated strategies while Adidas is positioning themselves to dominate women's sports. How did Nike not see the millions of fans tuning in just to watch Clark light up the court?
The average WNBA viewership, game, 7,300 in attendance. The average Angel Reese game is 10,100, 10,200. They come to watch her. You know what the average attendance is when Caitlyn Clark plays home or the road?
What?
15,300.
Wow.
Okay. Do you know what Caitlyn Clark just got the contract from Nike?
Nike.
You know what the contract is?
I want to say it's...
Did they not notice the packed arenas or the record-breaking merchandise sales? Were they living under a rock? Or just too busy congratulating themselves on their past successes? And let's not forget Nike's weak attempt at backing Clark. 8 years? $28 million? Are you kidding? That's pocket change for a player of her caliber. This is Caitlyn Clark we're talking about, the same woman who's been the face of every major WNBA headline this season, drawing more attention to the league than any other player in recent history.
Nike struck absolute gold when they signed Caitlyn Clark to an 8-year, $28 million endorsement deal. So why in the world are they ignoring her?